like a yoga teacher, I'll request all of you to keep rubbing your hands because for the next 1 hour, you're going to do a lot of clapping. So, welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Kannan. Good morning, Dr. Mehta. And good morning, Dr. Shroff. Good morning, faculty of MICA, staff, students, and proud parents, if they are here. So, I call this the MICA Oscars. And I am Billy Crystal. And this, the Mani Iyer Auditorium, or it's called MAA, is our Dolby Theatre. And why am I not comparing myself or the awards with Filmfare or Karan Johar? Because we are MICA. And our standards are to be compared globally. Right? Our curriculum, our pedagogy, our alumni are all to be compared with the global standards. And that's why I call this the MICA Oscars. The first convocation, we graduated or convocated 42 students. And tomorrow, which will be the 23rd convocation, we will be convocating 222 students, which is the highest in the history of MICA. And these include 173 PG DMC, 46 CCC, and 3 FPM. So it's a great feeling here. It has been a tough year, a challenging year, but at the same time, it has been very rewarding and satisfying. And we have all been in it together. We, the faculty and the staff and you, the students, we have been with this journey together. And so thank you all. And to the FPM who have finished more than 3 years, the PGDMC more than, 2 years, and the CCC 1 year. Thank you all. Till tomorrow, you will be MICA students and you would be governed by the student manual, as you all know. But from the 5th, you will no longer be students, you will be alumni. And you'll be joining the 3,000 plus growing alumni of MICA. So a big round of applause for all of you. And then you will be coming under the MAA, again MA, which is called the MICA Alumni Association. They call it MA. And not for any other reason, the word MICA also sounds like MICA. So it is almost like a homecoming. So when you say मैं MICA जा रहा हूँ, कि MICA जा रहा हूँ, it almost sounds same. So all this, makes me very emotional. And I'm reminded of my mother and Professor Panda. गौर फरमाइए, ये आपके लिए है. So my mother, we used to call her Mummy Jaan, not Ami Jaan but Mummy Jaan. और मम्मी जान कहती थी, बेटे, इस दुनिया में शिक्षण से बढ़कर और कोई धर्म नहीं है. मम्मी कहती थी, इस दुनिया में शिक्षण से बढ़कर और कोई धर्म नहीं है. और शिक्षण में माइका से बढ़कर और कोई स्कूल नहीं है. That's why we are called MICA. And so, let's get started. I would first request Megha Gautam of the MCSA to welcome our chief guest with a bouquet. Thank you, Megha. May I call upon Dr. Shroff to present the chief guest with a plaque. And may I request Professor Vanit Chibba to offer a shawl to the chief guest. Now may I call on stage our Dean, Dr. Preeti Shroff, to address you all.
Good morning, all. A very, very special welcome, first of all the parents who are in the audience. It's such a pleasure for us to see you here. It has been a great journey for us, working with the most important members of your family. I will share a lot about their achievements today. But because today is the day of achievement, I wanted to share my favorite quote from Aristotle, that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit and a way of life. So that's the final message on behalf of entire MICA community of educators that we would like to share with all of you. You are here because you worked very hard throughout the year, and we are going to celebrate your academic excellence, but this is just the beginning. Continue with your hard work for the rest of your journey, which is going to be very, very interesting. With that, I would like to welcome Mr. Madhusudan Kannan to MICA. Welcome, sir. And this is a day of celebration of your academic achievement because of the hard work of MICA faculty. I would request all faculty to stand up and face the students, and let's thank them together. And so now I'll request Professor Shailendra Raj Mehta, President and Director of MICA, to say a few words of welcome and your message for the group.
So I'll be brief. MICA really is quite different, and having been here now for almost a year, I realize every day how different we are. And I think it's not just the vision that animates MICA and has always animated MICA, but it's the fact that that vision has been translated into doing things differently. And for me, the most interesting differentiating factor for MICA is how we choose you, right? And there, I think I'm on safe ground to say that we are the only business school in the world that admits students not through one, but through 2 entrance exams. So all of you have taken the CAT exam, through which we test for analytical ability. But then we also have MyCat, through which we test for analytical ability, emotional intelligence, creativity, out-of-the-box thinking, and everything else besides. So as a result, MICAns are a unique blend of the analytical and the creative, the left and the right, the male and the female. We are the only business school that I'm aware of where, without any special effort, more than 50% of our students and more than 50% of our faculty are women. So this really makes us quite different and unique. And that uniqueness is reflected in how we do things differently. Also, the speakers that we choose for our various occasions are chosen to provide a different perspective. And I'd just like to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about how our speaker for today and our chief guest for today, Mr. Madhusudan Kannan, brings a very different perspective. We were joking in my office just a few minutes ago that he has been like Forrest Gump. He has been a part of the different turning points in industry. He was in New York in the financial services industry, in the New York Stock Exchange and Merrill Lynch, when the global financial tsunami hit. He was at the Tata Group. He was at Uber. He's now at Uber. And he is essentially seeing, he has a ringside view of the transformations that are happening throughout the world. And he brings a unique perspective in terms of how he sees the world. And I believe that will be very much on display today. So, welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. And we look forward to your remarks for our students. And what can I say? It's been an absolute joy interacting with all of you and seeing how you have progressed in your academic career. I'm going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow, so I won't bore you with the details today. But MICA really is what has been called a liminal space, a space of sanskars, where you go from one phase in your life to another with a phase of transformation. So I have seen you over the course of the year being transformed. And you have put in so much effort, so much of your heart into being here at MICA, into everything that you do, that the result is basically now here for all of us to see in the form of these Excellence Awards. So without further ado, may I ask Setu? So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So, we will be awarding no fewer than awards in 17 categories today across various specializations and areas. So, the first award of the morning, this is called the Mani Iyer Award for Academic Excellence in Advertising and Brand Management Specialization. A brief note on Mr. Iyer, who was a former Managing Director and CEO of Ogilvy and Mather India, and who shaped it into one of India's most successful ad agencies. He was also one of MICA's founding members and served on its governing council from 1992 to 2000. He passed away in 2010, and in his memory, we have instituted this award. It consists of a merit certificate, a medal, and a cash award. May I call on stage our chief guest, Mr. Madhusudan Kannan, sir. I would also call on stage the faculty of this area, Professor Falguni Vasavada Oza and Professor Anita Basalingappa. And since I'm talking of the Oscar tradition, let me tell you that the nominees for this award were 107 students who took this specialization. But due to paucity of time, I won't take their names. So I'll just spell out the name of the winner. The winner here with a GPA of 3.55 is Priyanka Neelakantan. The next award is the first of our sponsored award. It's called the AAAI Raman Memorial Award, which is instituted in the memory of Mr. T.S. Raman, who owned Dattaram Advertising Agency, one of India's oldest ad agencies, which completed 100 years and is still running. And he was also associated with the Advertising Agencies Association of India. The AAAI Raman Memorial Award is awarded to the runner-up and the topper in the advertising and brand management specialization. It consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. The total nominees again are 107. And the student who's in the second position with a GPA of 3.43, Aishwarya Gupta. Aishwarya couldn't believe it herself, so. And the topper is, of course, Priyanka Neelakantan. Priyanka, please come. The third award is for the topper in the communications area for consistency and excellence for both the years, the PGP1 and the PGP2. It comprises of a merit certificate and a cash award. This is for all 173, so the nominees, all of you. And may I call on stage, thank you, Professor Baslingappa and Professor, thank you. I'll call on stage our Dean, Dr. Preeti Shroff, and Professor Manisha Shelet. Okay, she's not here. Okay. Ma'am. And there are two joint winners here. So this award is jointly shared between two students who got a GPA of 3.58. So I'll just call them in not any particular order. Mithila Bhakta. And sharing this award with her, it's not a guy still, there's no guy still here. Jyotsna Singh. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shroff. Thank you. So as Dr. Mehta was mentioning, we have more females than males, so you can see it here in the awards.
But not a single award, yeah?
Will come. We still have a lot of awards. Now the next award, we are instituting this for the first time. This is in the area of business management. And who better than Professor Rasananda Panda? This is being awarded to the topper for consistency and excellence in business management area for both the years, PGP1 and PGP2. Consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. And out of the 173 students, the winner is Akanksha Dhawan. And she got a GPA of 3.65. Thank you, Professor Panda. The next award, this is for the teams. This is a group award. So hopefully we'll get some men in the groups. So this is for the MICA Rural Immersion Project Awards. I'll call on stage again Dr. Preeti Shroff and Professor Mini Mathur. These are team or group awards. There are two awards here. One is the second position and one in the first. The second position, again, it's a tie. So there are two groups. This group, the first group or the second group, it partnered with Adani Foundation. It was mentored by Professor Pooja Thomas. And the winners here are Hindol Mukherjee and Sayantani Sarkar. Pooja, please come. Pooja, stay. Because this second position is also shared by the other group, which had 4 members. So I'll call on stage Mallika Yamdagni, Pavni Jain, Varun Verma, and Dhruv Jambal. And the first position here, which was mentored by Professor Mini Mathur, and the partner was Jaipur Rugs, is a group comprising of Ayushi Srivatsav, Kumar Dattani, Alisha Singhal, and Samiksha Jaiswal. Thank you, Professor Shroff. Thank you. Thank you. The 6th award here today is in marketing analytics specialization. I'll call on stage Professor Rajneesh Krishna and Professor Ashutosh Dutt. This comprises of a merit certificate, a medal, and a cash award. The total nominees of this award are 46. And the topper here is Lima Stephen. Can somebody come here and receive the award on behalf of Lima, who doesn't seem to be here? May I call Raunak or someone? Come. Please ensure the cash and the medal reaches Lima. Thank you, Professor Rajneesh and Professor. Thank you, sir. The next award is in digital communication management specialization. So may I call Jai Trivedi, because Siddharth is not here. It consists of a merit certificate, a medal, and a cash award. The total nominees are 5, and the winner is Himani Singh. with a GPA of 3.44. The next award is for the DCM project and for a group. The total nominees were 16. It consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. And the group which won this is Raunak Haldipur and Ayushi Mona. Thank you, Jay. May I just take a pause here just to mention that tomorrow we'll be also awarding fellow titles to 3 of our scholars. A big round of applause. They are not here, but Sandeep Rawat, Gurpreet Kaur, and Junaid Ahmed. The 9th award is in the specialization Media and Entertainment Management. I'll call upon Darshan Trivedi, our professor. It consists of a medal, a merit certificate, and a cash award. The total nominees here are 15, and the winner is Ayushi Mona. She got a GPA of 3.62. Steve, sir. The next award, now this is a sponsored award by Divya Bhaskar Group. Every year, Divya Bhaskar has been sponsoring this award, and it's called the Divya Bhaskar Scholarship for Academic Excellence in Media and Entertainment Management. There are 2 awards here. There's a runner-up and there's a topper. Again, the total nominees were 15, and it consists of a merit certificate and a cash award sponsored by Divya Bhaskar. In second position here is Alisha Singhal. And the winner is Ayushi Mona. Thank you. The next award is in advanced courses. I call on stage Professor Mini Mathur. It consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. The nominees here were the nominees here are 95, and the topper here is Shrish Pant. Now, thank you. As you may all know, Shrish is at home recovering from his operation, and in fact he may not even make it to the convocation tomorrow. But a big round of applause. I hope he hears it. And if he's watching on the webcast, I hope he can clap there at home. So thank you. Thank you, Professor Mini. The next award is in the dissertations. Call upon Professor Varsha Jain. There are 62 nominees here, and the top position is shared between 4 students. Last year we used to give 1 check to 1 student and ask him or her to share it, but that used to create a lot of infighting because somebody would walk away. So this time we have decided to give each of them a check. So we're splitting it here in no particular order. I'll call on stage first Akanksha Dhawan. With a GPA of 3.81. Her topic was study on effect of e-servicescape on purchase intentions of Indian millennials, focus on beauty and personal care websites. Her mentor was Professor Jai Trivedi. Thank you. The second winner here for a topic discovering digital self for luxury consumption in India, mentor Professor Varsha Jain, Priyanka Neelkantan. The next winner here for the topic, the advent of herbal, natural and Ayurvedic, a study of consumer perception of toothpaste brands. The mentor Professor Kalol Das and it's Tushar Nandkioliyar. And the fourth student who shares this award for a topic being discovering the holistic perspectives of artificial intelligence for enhancing customer engagement by technology-oriented brands, mentor Professor Varsha Jain, Tamanna Kakkar. Thank you, Varsha. The next award is the KEIC, or the library, which we call Best. It's for the Best User Award. And I call on stage Dr. Shailesh Yagnik. This is a sponsored award, and the sponsor are Allied Publishers Subscription Agency. It consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. There is one award each for the PG, DMC, and one for the CCC also. The KIC staff have arrived at this award based on certain parameters, which include multiple visits to KIC, pages viewed on KIC online, time spent in KIC and KIC online, and the number of books borrowed. And the winner from the PGDMC batch is Abhinav Chandekar. And from the CCC batch, it is Akanksha Saxena. Thank you, Dr. Agnew. The next award, and I call on stage the chair of the PGDMC program, Professor Shubhra Gaur. This is called the Satpal Singh Virdi Memorial Cash Award. and it is for the best all-rounder. This has been instituted in the name of late Satpal Singh. He was a MICA of the second batch, and in his memory, a fellow batchmate who prefers to remain anonymous, so I'll call him Anonymous Alam. And though I invite him every year and he religiously sends me his contribution, he has still not come to MICA, but he promises to come every year. And we invited nominations from all the students from PGP and CCC to nominate themselves. And we received 14 nominations, and there was a committee of faculty who went through each of the nominations. This is what the committee had to say when they chose the student: for in-depth and overall contribution across research, brand building, leadership-based and planning-based activities at MICA, and for individual growth and institutional contribution, the committee decided to award the Satpal Singh Virdi Memorial Award for the Best All-Rounder to Ayushi Mona. Thank you, Professor. Now we'll call on stage Dr. Preeti Shroff. There is a new award we are instituting this time, and this was suggested by Dr. Shroff herself. This is to reward students of both the PGP, that is of both the years when you are in PGP 1 and PGP 2, and the CCC, who have not just performed well academically, but have also maintained a high attendance and participation in classroom and lectures. The MCSA had also suggested that those who have a near 100% attendance should be awarded in some way. I think they're looking at marks, but they are giving it in the form of certificates. I'm sure Rajaram, Rajesh, Harshan would really love you for this. So a big round of applause to all the three program coordinators. And this is called the Dean's Award for Exemplary Conduct and Satisfactory Academic Performance. In the PGDMC 16-18 batch, there are three winners, all the three who got almost near 100. Somil Makhija. Shesha Shukla. Can someone, I think, take this on behalf of Shesha? Say Shesha is not attending this place, but he was attending the class. So, Ashutosh Srivastav. Raunak. Thank you, Raunak. And from the CCC, who are all here, I think so, Nikita. Rijuta Manot. And Titi Chakravarti. Thank you, Dr. Shroff. For the next award, I call on stage Dr. Shailendra Raj Mehta. So this is the President's Award for Academic Excellence, and this is given to the top 3 students who have maintained a CGPA of 3.40 consistently in both first year and second year. It consists of a merit certificate and a cash award, and it is shared between 3 students. First, I call on stage for a CGPA of 3.46 and 3.54, Divjot Kaur. And sharing this with her is somebody who's maintained a CGPA consistently both the years of 3.50 and 3.50, Akanksha Dhawan. And for a CGPA of 3.48 and 3.59 in PGP2, Ayushi Mona. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Thank you. The next award is in the CCC. I call on stage Professor Praveen Mishra. This award is for the Crafting Creative Communications, or CCC as we call it, and who have been patiently sitting and clapping for all the PGPs. This is called the Campaign of the Year Award. The CCC are only 46, but they are louder than the PGP, I think. This consists of a merit certificate and a cash award. The nominees are, of course, 46. The runner-up position is again shared between 2 students. Okay. And for the campaign on autism PSA, Sneha Agarwal and Meghna Gopalan. Wait, Praveen, you have to stay. You're not done yet. And the topper here for the Campaign of the Year Award, and for her campaign for Kiwi, Gurdiksha Kaur. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Mr. Kannan. Thank you. Now may I call on stage Dr. Preeti Shroff to formally introduce the chief guest.
So I'm about to introduce Mr. Madhusudan Kannan because what he has achieved in terms of his life journey and work experiences is exemplary. But before that, I would like to acknowledge a colleague that he has brought, Mr. Sunny Sapra, who is the lead for Uber Gujarat. Will you please stand up and say hello? Now, you gave us the best introduction in the morning, and we hope that you do justify that introduction by sharing your life story that reflects Mr. Forrest Gump. And the way he put it was to say that somehow I was always in the middle of major global transformations, and that's what makes him the Forrest Gump of the industry. But before that, let me share some outstanding achievements. Mr. Madhusudan Kannan is the Chief Business Officer of India and Emerging Markets for Uber since February 2017. He was previously Group Head, Business Development and Public Affairs, and also member of the Group Executive Council for Tata Sons. He has been a member of the Board of Directors of Tata Capital, Tata AIG General Insurance, Tata AIA Life Insurance, and Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited. His other assignments, very distinguished work, have been as MD and CEO, Bombay Stock Exchange Limited, Managing Director, Merrill Lynch, and Managing Director of NYSEG Group. He's also a proud graduate with honors, his BE honors in electrical and electronic subjects, and MSc with honors in economics from BITS Pilani, and Vanderbilt University for his MBA from United States, focusing on finance and business management. And now the most important part about, sir, you and your family, that you, your wife and 3 kids, you have a wide range of interests from traveling, and we hope that you'll share some experiences of special places that you choose of historical significance, and reading on a variety of subjects areas. And he is an avid follower of anything to do with cricket, so I'm sure you will hear some great highlights. With that, I welcome you to MICA and on stage.
We can turn this off? Good. Okay. First of all, let me begin by saying if you got any issues with Uber, he's the guy, not me, okay? I have not given my card to anybody. His card is there. Any problems, go to him, not to me, okay? Having that disclaimer, I want to start off by thanking President Mehta, Dean Schroff, the faculty and the students of this institution to invite me here and spend some time with you guys. When I got a call from a colleague who's the head of HR at Uber saying that you guys want me to come and speak to you, I was not really sure whether you actually reached the right person. It's been almost 2 years since I've gotten off the speaking circuit after what happened at the Tatas, and if some of you have done some Googling on me before I came in, I was part of the 3 people who got martyred on 24th October 2016 when the issues took place at Tata Sons. I've never really been involved in the communication of the marketing profession as a subject matter, except of course if you count the stint I had when I was running the Bombay Stock Exchange, when I thought I was actually at a studio or non-stop with the amount of media coverage that's going on of the institution. And thirdly, most of the insights and training that you actually have gotten in this area, what you need in the area, I'm sure you've already gotten from the interaction with your faculty and your colleagues and going by the awards which I've been giving out. Clearly you know what pretty much needs to be known at least from an academic perspective. So I was just trying to see, I was told that I need to speak for 20 minutes. I said, what am I going to talk about? So, by the way, my MBA was not, I didn't actually take a GMAT and got the MBA. I actually went as a PhD program and studying Professor Mehta is that actually I'm a PhD dropout. In the process, I was able to do some jugaad and get an MBA in the process. So like a good quasi PhD. By the way, I almost went to Purdue, almost. If I had gone, I'd have met him 20 years back. I did a little more digging up on MICA, and though I've heard about this institution, I thought let me do a little bit of background work. There was the impression I had in my mind what MICA was and what it focused on. And within a few minutes, I realized that the institution was far beyond the perception that was created in me. So which is for me was very, very interesting. As I did some reading on MICA, in preparation for the visit, I was struck by the foresight of the founders in coming up with the idea of this institution, which I'm going to quote from the website, your website, that would occupy the space at the intersection of the worlds of business, communication, design, entrepreneurship, and innovation. 26 years, 27 years back, most of these words were still far, far ahead of its time. Today, at least, I can relate to 4 or 5 of them, and as I look at my experience, I can see the advantages of actually being able to operate at the intersection of some of these worlds of which is there as a part of the vision of the founders. So hence what I decided is that I will share some of my experiences. I've had my professional career on events that are the intersections of some of these elements, and see if I can sort of share some learnings with this group. Over the last 21 years of my career, I've had the opportunity to be based both in the US, in the first part, as was there in my CV, and the last 8 to 9 years in India for the second part. I joined the New York Stock Exchange, which many of you have sort of, again, we talk about the imagery of the NYSE. I joined the exchange, dropping out of the PhD program, and moved initially into a role in research, and then quickly moved from research into a sales and market development role. I call it a transfer from the Ministry of Truth to Ministry of Propaganda. I quickly realized that I think I was a better sales guy than a guy who would actually do some quality research and get to come and get to be an academic, which is what I thought I would be when I left for India. I left for the US. And then found myself sitting very close to the nerve center of a great financial institution, just as it was embarking on what turned out to be a dramatic transformation in its 200-year-old history. There are 2 or 3 things I learned in being part of that particular transformation. Remember, the NYSE was set up in 1792, 16 years after when the US as a country was formed, and it's seen dramatic change. It's seen civil war, it's seen world wars, it's seen dramatic technological innovations of various generations, and then was in 1998, 99 when I went in, was beginning to see, I think, a significant one, which it actually really had a lot of challenges navigating. I moved, and we'll talk a little more about it. I moved from the NYSE in 2000, after spending a decade there, along with my boss, who was the CEO of the NYSE, moved to Merrill Lynch, another great financial institution, at just around the time when the global financial crisis was happening. Spent 18 months there, watched an institution, a storied institution being sold over a weekend at the peak of the financial crisis, and then sort of said, look, it's time for me to go back home and come back to India, which is what I did. I came back to India, again came and joined in a leadership role as a CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange, a fascinating institution. Again, lots of interesting elements out here. 135-year-old institution, trying to maintain its relevance in a new India, and that's sort of where I landed. And then of course, spent 3 years there, finished a term, moved to the Tatas, and again landed up with the Tatas when it's going through a shift in leadership. And again, 2012 when a new chairman was appointed and a new team was being put together. I was lucky to be the first person hired by the new chairman, and got a chance to be part of a relatively short stint, again, given the history of the Tatas for the last 5 years, looking at how change was being attempted, and also having opportunity to observe some fascinating elements of, I think, one of India's most storied companies from within. The last year or so, a year and 2 months I've been at Uber, has been, again, an amazing organization that's been at the forefront of innovation in the most basic of industries, which is transportation, has also been, and where leveraging technology as an agent of change has also been a very interesting one. So that's my broad story, and what we'll do in the next 10 minutes is I'll try to see if I can draw out some experiences and see if we can get this related to this particular group. Clearly on design and etc. Marketing, you guys know far better than this. And as I was coming in, I heard that I thought it would be useful for me to share more about a broader perspective, which may be of interest to you guys as you start your careers in a few weeks from now. As people have said, I've been pretty lucky that I've been watching some changes, the changes in technology, changes and innovations in the financial markets which took place in the late 90s and early 2000s, which has caused an impact on the exchange in New York, Merrill, at the Bombay Stock Exchange, Tata's. So these are the four broad things I'll talk about. Let's talk about the NYSE, right? As I said, 200-year-old institution. What is happening in the late 1990s was something very, very different, so compared to some of the changes and innovation that had taken place in the previous 150 years. There's significant advancement of processing power. There's a very significant development of high-speed telecom networks and democratization of access to trading. What was seen as to be a clubby world became much more democratized by leveraging of technology and telecom, which combined with some of the changes in regulation. And one of the things when you sit in business schools and schools like this, and again, I'm not completely privy to the curriculum here, is that we actually don't underestimate the importance of regulation and the 800-pound gorilla in the real world, which is the government. And so you combine some of the technological changes along with the changes in regulation, the entire value proposition of the institution and came under stress. The ECNs, and again, there was, and the electronic communication networks, as they were called, which are founded by first-generation entrepreneurs, people from outside the regular traditional financial sector, created disruption at a pace which is far, far beyond the imagination of people inside the industry. So here there was disruption, here there was innovation coming from people who were actually used to operating at a much higher speed than the people in the industry, which actually caused some of the traditional players to really be caught, I would say, sort of flat-footed. Unique business models. The other interesting thing which I want to relate for this group out here is that sometimes we actually focus on one of the things we also need to be very careful about is innovation and business models. See, one of the dramatic things that took place at the New York Stock Exchange at that time was there was a changes in business models where customers were incentivized to actually sort of by giving ownership to customers by competitors, we were actually put in situations where our own customers were incentivized to support our competing products. So one thing that's, which again I'll leave it out here and I'll keep repeating, is that often disruption and innovations in technology, innovations in what you think, innovation technology is more talked about, but the bigger thing is, which has got the ability to impact us more, is innovations in business models. And I think what happened in the late 90s and early 2000s in the financial services industry was not just an innovation of technology or disruption or technology as a disruption in the way the markets operated, but there was also significant innovation in the entire business model and an existing institution struggling to actually figure out a way to counter innovations in business models. So that's very, very important. If you ask me, innovation in business model is much more harder to sort of react to and harder to detect as well as we go forward. The NYSE, I tried to respond back. We merged into the ECN. We bought a company in Europe and tried its very, very best. But fast forward 2018, we are in. The institution of the New York Stock Exchange, as it stood 15 years back, doesn't really exist anymore. It's been acquired by a company which was set up just 20 years back, which innovated not just in technology, but also innovated on business model, and ended up, and when that happens, sometimes the pace of change can be really, really, really fast, and that's sort of what happened in that particular case. Anyway, I had left the exchange in 2017 2007. And then moved to Merrill. But before that, again, coming back to the question on, since I'm here at MICA, and I was sort of, I'm relating to some of the awards you talked about on the power of brand. While there is a lot of stuff going on the core business model stuff, there's another important lesson which I picked up from my stint at the exchange was my first introduction to the power of brand and the value one can create by operating smartly in the confluence of communication, branding, and business. I was very lucky. I mean, again, there was a legendary chairman of the exchange at that time. Of course, subsequently, there's been a lot of controversy around him. A guy called Richard Grasso, who rose from the ranks of the institution to become the chairman of the company. but figured out the importance of communicating what was happening on Wall Street effectively to Main Street, right? So you had, and also realize the power of a brand of an institution to actually advance its business. For example, a couple of things which I'll sort of illustrate out here. There was a very simple operational act in an exchange. At 9:30 in the morning, markets used to open. So this, in a physical convention, people are talking, eating, etc., etc. You need to let the people know the market is going to open. What do? You ring a bell, right? It was an operational activity of ringing a bell, was brilliantly branded and a brand was created around the opening bell, and that was used as a platform to get visibility for media, for companies, etc., etc. He allowed, for example, reporters on the floor of the exchange, and got, one of the more what shall I say, well-known reporters to actually start operating from the floor of the exchange, and did a great job by getting what is an arcane business, brought into the living rooms of people. So I think and created a brand for this institution, and that really helped us, fight the battle, or at least within the US, really sort of, continue to sort of leverage this particular brand in a way to actually get better pricing in many constituencies. I mean, one of the things I would always say is that, as an institution, like an exchange, we actually sell credibility, and we need to sort of and some of the theatrics of it was also very helpful in building the credibility. And once you actually have this credibility and build this trust in the minds of your stakeholders, you can actually start charging a premium for the same. Again, this is a time when the exchange is also going international, and in many of these emerging markets, and I spend a lot of time in emerging markets. This actually, all the more when there's a greater differentiation on quality, the brand and the value of the brand, the value of trust in the brand actually is something which can be a much bigger differentiator. The last thing I'll sort of, again, from my NYC experience is, and having worked with 2 or 3 great leaders out there, is the power of storytelling. I mean, the exchange was even now, if I ask you, what does an exchange do, it's very difficult to sort of give an answer what it means, right? And we had to actually fight regulation. We had to get people to, we had a lot of engagement with the external community, but we were having difficulty communicating what we were. And I think the power of great storytelling was sort of something which I learned from some of the people out here. For example, our then chairman used to say, look, we are in the business of manufacturing prices, right? What is the output coming from an exchange? Is that the raw material is various information about companies, etc. The output is just prices, and based on that output, that's sort of what we communicate to the entire external world. So, so I think the part of great storytelling is something which, we don't really realize sitting when I was in your age sitting across where you are. I never really realized the importance of it as I realized it as I've grown and with all the experience I've seen so far. The last point which I would sort of talk about here is which I've sort of, one other incident which happened when I was there, which was 9/11, and that another theme which I've started spending more and more time is, how do we communicate during a crisis? It's because I think crises are moments of threat, but also moments of opportunity. And again, coming if there's a premium attached to trust, and sometimes trust gets questioned during times of crisis. How do we actually communicate then, both internally and externally, and having a proper, well-thought-out crisis management sort of policy and a plan is something which I learned having worked out there, and something which, fast forward in my days at the exchange, when I was running the BSE, I actually found many companies being caught very flat-footed when a crisis hit them, and they were trying to improvise on the go, when more often than not, you're actually going to make more mistakes then. That was my New York NYC story. I moved to Merrill Lynch. I was there for 12 to 18 months, and unfortunately, 2 months after I joined, the whole financial crisis sort of enveloped, and as I said before, very quickly, I think I joined in February, and by the time of August, we had actually sort of seen Merrill being sold to Bank of America. One important message, and again, I'm going to come back to the core theme of operating in the confluence of these 4 or 5 themes that the institute has articulated, is the other side of innovation and entrepreneurship, right? In pursuit of innovation in creating financial products, the entire financial market seems to have forgotten to understand the risks that are being created and who in the final place is a beneficiary of such innovation. So innovation is great. Innovation is usually is value creative, but I think that's only one side of the equation. I think it's very important to understand, and in whatever we do, the risks associated with some of the innovation, and also who is the eventual beneficiary, right? One of the things which I completely believe is that sustainable innovation is something which either solves a real-time problem, but there's also there's a long-term value which accrues to various stakeholders without unnecessarily taking risks. I think the product innovation, for example, then in the real estate space didn't seem to have any substantial value to the end customer, which was the people like you and me who actually were taking mortgages, and the negative externalities of unconstrained or unrestrained innovation was there for the entire world to see. I think innovation is best if it can actually address some real-time, real-life problems and real-life challenges. The other messages actually came, which I got from being at Merrill at the time and watching the run on banks and the loss of trust in financial institutions is something which I've already mentioned, but I actually want to again sort of re-emphasize to this group out here is the importance of trust in any business. It's not just financial services, and trust among all key stakeholders. The crisis taught me that a loss of trust can be far more potent, and once it happens, it just exacerbates the business challenges far more than reality dictates. And I think we as professionals, we as communicators, going out to the marketplace, I think it's something which I think I would very strongly urge people and companies which I am associated with, is to figure out a way to ensure that the trust is also always maintained, and we have the ability to address things if the question of trust is ever under question. Merrill, I think my stint at Merrill, I came back to India. The BSc, I think if you ask me in 21 years of my life, what has been the most fascinating experience professionally, it was trying to turn around the Bombay Stock Exchange. There's a lot of excitement when I came back in. I mean, every other day there was newspapers were talking about my move back. I was I think quite young for that role. I was the first outsider from the BSc community, and I mean, sometimes I reflect. When I reflect, I wish I could tell my younger myself a few more things to do slightly differently than when I joined the BSc around 9 years back. The exchange then had the ingredients of being a successful institution. It had a history, a loyal band of shareholders and investors, a well-entrenched distribution system, and a well-known brand. But each of these attributes, again, it's a pretty interesting point, each of these attributes, which at one point were actually very, very good for an institution, had become a challenge for the organization as the framework of the entire capital market system changed in the country. Look, I think what is good for an institution is can quickly, as external factors change, can suddenly become can become a huge impediment and prevent growth and prevent development of these institutions. For example, I was again telling Professor Mehta, look, 20 years back or 25 years back, most of the share broking activity in India took place primarily in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and BSE was a very, very powerful had a powerful presence in these two states. With the democratization of access and telcos coming in and cost of access coming down, the fact that we were only present in those two states and didn't have a national footprint, whereas a competitor had a national footprint, meant that boom, what was historically an advantage can become a historical disadvantage before you even know and before you can even realize. So I think that was, and again, similarly the brand, we had the iconic building, everybody recognized us, but increasingly it was being seen as a legacy. So how do we actually take factors which will help the institution grow and convert them to be assets was a big challenge for me. I think we made a lot of innovation out there. I mean, one of the things which I keep talking about is we had a sort of silly rule which basically said that if you had to be a member of the BSc, you had to actually get a membership and pay 1 crore rupees. Now you tell me, it's like Nike saying, if you want to come in and look at my shoes, please pay an advance of 25,000 rupees. I want people to come in and start buying and selling on my platform. So we took a decision, let's actually completely get rid of this thing, bring it down from 1 crore to 10 lakhs, and allow first generation, second generation of entrepreneurs to come in and give much more easier access. So it faced a lot of opposition. Fast forward in 1.5 years, the incremental revenue we were able to generate from these new guys who came in under a 10 lakh membership far exceeded the cost of the money I left on the table by reducing the membership fees. So we did a lot of innovation. And actually it was something which is a fascinating experience. And I think today the exchange is I left after 3 years for a variety of reasons. But I think the exchange today is a far more sort of a dynamic, competitive entity, having gone public a year or so back. So I think that transformation was fascinating for me. We had to sort of push innovation in a very traditional organization, and we had to unleash entrepreneurship, right? I mean, I think one of the things, the other interesting things I learned in this particular process is that, when again in many business schools, I'm sure it's here as well. Traditionally, we don't spend that much time on the people or the HR functionality. We don't. I mean, I've sort of been a bunch of my classmates or professors in different business schools. Is that okay? You got to do marketing, finance, etc. HR mein kar dete hain. Let's do the HR thing just to make sure you meet the thing. Unless you are actually going to be specializing there. I realized when I came to run the exchange as a CEO of a 3,000 member organization, I was spending 65% of my time on people issues. Because you may be passionate. I really want to make this extra. I had the greatest PowerPoint presentation. Hey boss, I can't do all the jobs. And I can't fire 3,000 people and get 3,000 new people. How do you get people to believe in your cause? How do you engage with people? It's something which is far more important than anything else. And I think sometimes when we are as business school students and at this stage we don't pay that much attention to it, because finally at the more senior you go, the amount of time you're going to involve in what I call social engineering is going to be much more than anything else. And that's something which I think was one of my biggest learning experiences of how do you change the culture of a 135-year-old institution. The Wall Street Journal actually sort of ran a piece on interview where I said, look, I'm a 135-year-old startup. And my legacy and my history is very, very important, but I need to have the energy, urgency, passion of a startup. And that, I think, was my most challenging task I've had, to try to change the culture of the organization. I mean, it's 8 years since I've gone, but I think I can look back and say, when I had, my number 2 actually took over, the CEO is still there. I think we've actually made a lot of progress. So invest in people, let's not forget about that part of being good business leaders. Let me quickly move forward and then see what we want to get to. I think the last message from the BSc world was that, which is again on the theme of innovation. When I use the word innovation entrepreneurship to this group, I think what does the first thought that come to you? Oh, something in the tech world, something to do with e-commerce, something to do with the digital world. I mean, but I'll tell you, innovation can actually be in anything, in any business we are in, right? Some of the most fascinating innovation, if you ask me what I saw when I was running the BSc, was not just the tech world, product innovation, pricing innovation. So I think innovation is not just sort of tech and e-commerce, as what the media tends to sort of make us believe in. So I think this innovation can happen at every level. It can be at macro level, it can also be micro level, and the same for entrepreneurship as well. So let's quickly move on, and sort of, since I'm running out of time, I left the exchange, moved to Tata's, again 2012. It was a generational change. I was lucky to be part of the engine room. I've been covering the group for almost 20 years. Gotten and had a huge amount of respect for the institution, and I think I used to work pretty closely with Cyrus Mistry, who was the chairman then, who had become the chairman. And the theme which struck me significantly in Tata, and again I'll put it for this group for reflection as you get into the workforce, is this entire concept of stakeholder value creation. See, when we get into, I was just told all of you have been placed, all of you are going to be starting your careers, pretty soon. I think there is a tendency to focus a lot on just shareholder value creation, right? I think it's very important for us and for you guys as you move into the workplace and become leaders going forward is to drill down into us the concept of stakeholder value creation, which is more, and also start looking at long term. Now, what is long term? We can debate, but I think the issue is that during my stint with the Tatas and under the chairmanship of Cyrus, we looked at stuff like employees, suppliers, investors, customers, regulators, and most importantly, the communities that operate in. And it's a theme which I think the Tatas have done a great job from almost its founding. The focus on communities. The focus on communities is not just from an optics perspective, it actually is done there on a very meaningful perspective. In the long run, investment in communities was not just a good thing to do, but also important for the company strategy as well. There's a reason why employee relations there are very, very, very good. And the ability for the group to operate in industries like steel and auto with extraordinary employee relations was a testament to this philosophy. I think let me sort of have one second. See, the one other interesting theme which I was able to, I got some exposure to, and I think I'll talk about here as well, is the entire concept of social entrepreneurship, which I actually got to see when I was working in Tatas. See, there are entrepreneurship, again, just like I talked about innovation, entrepreneurship is not just value maximization on the economic front. I think there's an increasing category of social entrepreneurship which is emerging, and there are people, very, very smart people, who are willing to put the tools that they learn in business schools like this to apply on social problems. And the entire concept of social entrepreneurship is something which I got a lot of exposure to during my stint there, and something which I actually sort of, as I moved on to my role in Uber, it's something which I'm continuing to sort of invest more time and effort on. There's a couple of very interesting things on innovation in Tatas, right? There's something which, the Tatas actually have really believed in spending a huge amount of, investing a huge amount of capital in both the human as well as financial capital on innovation. It's something which continued when I was there as a part of the institution. But one interesting thing which about Tatas, which I keep talking when I have opportunities, is that we have Tatas actually have an annual innovation day, and they have their own awards. But they've got a very interesting award. There's an award given to the most successful failure, right? And that's a very, very interesting thing, because see, I think all of us celebrate successes, but it's also important for us to not ostracize failures, right? Again, Professor Mehta would understand. For example, in the US, you have Chapter 11, right? Taking an entrepreneurial risk, failing, it's okay, right? And the history's got cases of people who actually tried, failed, come back and created a huge amount of companies. The CEO the founder of Uber, he had 2 price startups, and one of them didn't work well, and then he created magic in Uber. So I think we as a culture need to figure out a better way to be able to foster innovation entrepreneurship, not just for those that are successful, but for those that are not successful initially. And that's something I really, it struck to me, and I think even as places like, as you look at awards and look at celebrating great stuff, it's also okay to try and not do something for the first time. Because if you're incentivized to keep trying, boss, next time around you can be, you can create a gazillion and another unicorn. So that's sort of one thing I would sort of say. And the second thing I would add is more on a personal front, and maybe is that when for whatever reasons, sort of the post the boardroom sort of scuffle that took place in October 2016, I left the firm. I think it taught me one thing, right? When it's not easy to get fired, I'll be very honest. Hopefully none of you will face the situation, but to be able to face it, I think requires a certain amount of, I think it teaches you a lot. I'll tell you what, one lesson which I left after those 2-3 months of post starters is that sometimes we make a mistake, and at least I did, and I'll be honest, is that of letting our jobs define who we are. It's especially in India. I didn't really see it that much when I was in the US, because there's a reasonable amount of separation between your professional life and your personal life. Here, we spend 6.5 days a week working, 6 days a week working, we socialize with people we work with, and suddenly we let our work define who we are. And that for me is one learning. I'll say, look, from very early on, if you've got some passions outside work, please pursue it. Please look at, and please look at, the other thing which I've learned is that it's okay to, I've really enjoyed getting involved in a social cause, right? It's something I always said, I'll do it when later when I retire. Don't wait for you to get fired to get into a social cause, right? So I think it's important to sort of be much more balanced, and as you enter the workforce, I'm sure all of you excited, you want to do well, you want to move up, you want to get promoted, etc., etc. But think of, I go back and think of October 24, 2016, and say, look, I let my professional life define me too much, because then then recovery becomes much more hard. And look, I think life is, it's good to be, if things go very, very well, but as I said, you should always have contingency plans on how you react to when things don't go well. So that's sort of, for example, I've spent a lot of time right now on I've taken a theme on urban poverty as something which I want to spend my, sort of spare bandwidth to focus on. And it's fun. Look, you learn a lot of tools, and you get a lot of skill set, you apply it in business, but a lot of them can also be applied to social issues. So that's sort of where I am. Uber has been the last stop of the journey. I'm still here. It's a great firm. 8 years, dramatically altered the way people move. I'm very happy that this Uber is available in campus. As I told you, if you have any problems, Sunny is your guy. I was just thinking of where's design come into my life. I think this is an amazing product. Think of it, right? There's so much of work which goes on in making that product richer day by day, in and day out, but it's such a simple design. And so we did spend a lot of time on this thing on the back of the product, but the external experience is still very, very seamless, and something which I'm very proud of, though I don't have anything to do with it. So here I am, 21 years after all the Gada Mazuri, and I think I've shared with you some of the things which have struck me. Be careful about innovation. It can make and break businesses. It can move much faster than you can think. People matter. Again, people matter. Do not underestimate the power of people in whatever you do. Life is not about work. Try to build a broader, holistic perspective of what you are and who you are and what you want to be. Trust is very, very important, be it in business that you drive, business you're going to be part of. And I remember a very, very, very elderly person on the floor of the exchange, he said, son, it takes 2 decades, if not generations, to build trust, and one bad move to break it. So just don't, and that's very, very important. And as I said, entrepreneurship is amazing, but entrepreneurship can happen in each one of our lives, in even small segments we do. So these are some of the things which I could think of, in some of the areas which you guys are in. And I'll end by saying, your journey of learning doesn't end today. In fact, it may just be the end of the beginning. As you go out to the workforce, the real learning starts. And I have found the best of the employees I've hired and who've done extraordinarily well are the ones that just don't stop learning. So with that, I will again thank all of you for inviting me, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kannan. Very insightful and interesting, and it also gives us a thought that at the next awards we'll think of something of outstanding failure. So we'll introduce that. Another thing which you said was people matter, and as we come to the end of the award ceremony, and before I call Praveen here, before that when he's showcases the CCC work. I thought it will be good as we end this year, and it's been 3 years for the FPM, as I said, 2 for the PGP and 1 for the CCC. And there have been a lot of people, not just those who are sitting here, but also outside, who have been part of your journey. And as Mr. Kannan said, people matter. So I think we should, there's nothing better in life than to acknowledge and be thankful to all those who have been part of your journey and helped you. Helped you in your journey at MICA. And okay, so this is a list. I've prepared this. I'll quickly go through this. This is more like the list when you come to a shopping mall and you come to the billing counter with the wife, and he takes this out and you say, oh God, is this, okay, did you buy all this? This is what happens with me. So apart from the chief guest, Mr. Kannan, of course, Dr. Mehta, Dr. Shroff, and all the program chairs whom I call on stage, specialization chairs here. I think I should also acknowledge and thank all those other faculty also who are here. So quickly, and I'm going to go very quick, Professor Jai Trivedi, Professor Harmony, Professor Kalol Das, Professor U.T. Rao, Professor Anjali Bansal, Professor Pooja Thomas, Sunita Mall, Niyati Banja, Ruchi Tiwari. And also, we should not forget 4 faculty who are not with us today but who are part of your journey. Sanjeev Tripathi, Dipti Kulkarni, Santosh Patra, and T.T. Sri Kumar. And closely behind them, are the adjunct faculty. Quickly again, Keval Kumar, Subhash Tenle. When I talk of adjunct of CCC, I get the loudest cheers here. Amit Kishore, L.K. Vaswani, Utpal Pate. Don't we all wish to be part of the CCC group? Okay. Nitesh Mohanty here. Sanjeev Kotnala, Arvind Sinha, Pat Vinayak, Harish Krishnamachar, C.D. Mitra. And there are some 70 or 80 odd visiting faculty. Of course, going further, the program coordinators, Rajaram, Rajesh, Harshan, Gopal. The exam cell, Kintan. The AV team, Manu, Shanti and Prakosh. Everyone's favorite. The finance team, because of it, you got your checks and we get our salaries. Deepak, Vinit, Vihar and Samir. The estate team for this beautiful campus, Sanjay, Himanshu, Jaideep, Jigar, Prakash. Student Councillor, Anita Shah. The KIC team of Ashok, Sanjay, Neeraj and Bikabai. MDB team, Narayan Nair. Design team, Jal Blakia. The admissions team, because of whom you are here in the first place, Love and Jairaj. The IT team, led by Himanshu and Nimesh. The HR team, we are thankful to them because they give us our salaries. So you may not be interacting with them, but we keep interacting with them almost every day. Snigdha, Murli and Hardik. And all those thankless and hard-working secretaries and EAs led by Julie, Forum, Biju, Ernest, the staff at the centers, Pallavi, Sapna, Smita, and the other executives, those in the marketing and alumni offices, Sweeta, Brahma, Vijay, Leslin, Swati, Gargi, to the CCC executives Sonal and Govind, the man at the reception, Raju Bhai, course, all these wonderful RAs who have been helping, all the faculty, and also the invigilation and all that, almost 25 of them. They keep increasing by every month, so I'm not going to take the name, but 25 of them. So big round of applause to all the research. And of course, the support staff, which include the drivers, the housekeeping staff, the security staff. Each one of them deserve a big round of applause and thanks. Wow. This is like a sash worn by the Miss Universe. So as long as big as this, the 100 or 200 odd people who have been very instrumental in making your life at MICA so wonderful. So thank you them all, and hope to meet you all again when you come to MICA on some homecoming arranged by the alumni team. And now I call on stage Praveen Mishra. And he will be presenting the CCC showreel. So Praveen.
Lights off, please.
कल तक तो सब ठीक ही था, फिर इनके भतीजे की डेथ हो गई। अब ट्रेन से आ जाया करता था ना ऑफिस। ट्रेन में जगह कहाँ होती है आजकल, किसी ना किसी को रोज धक्का मारना पड़ता है। कल उसकी बारी आ गई। अब इसीलिए 2 साल पहले हमने 5x5 की एक कब्र की जगह बुक करके रखी थी। कल जब उसकी डेड बॉडी लेके गए तो देखा वहां पे किसी ने घर ही बसा रखा था। अब ये गुस्सा हो गए, चिल्लाने लगे, तो मैंने चुप करवाया। चिल्लाते चिल्लाते अगर ऑक्सीजन कम पड़ जाता और इन्हें कुछ हो जाता तो लाते इनके लिए जगह। तो हमने सोचा था कि उसी कब्र पे मम्मी को चलना सिखाएंगे। 6 साल की हो गई है पर अभी तक जगह नहीं मिली उसे चलना सिखाने की। इसीलिए भड़के मुझे पे बरस बैठे। मेरी क्या गलती? सुबह से घर नहीं लौटे, या तो बहुत नाराज है या फिर शायद ट्रेन से आ रहे हैं। आज उनकी बारी आ गई तो खैर वेट कर लेती हूँ शाम तक। अगर आपको वो दिखे तो बताना।
Do not look at the box. I say, I know you did it anyway. Does that mean you were thinking out of the box or in? When asked not to see, why so averse to thinking inside the box must we be? Since we are onto this, let's open Pandora's box of puzzles. When you think out of the box, are you in a bigger box, or just another box of which you had never known? After all, your classmate's lunchbox was always more exciting than your own. If you feel cornered in a box that is square, perhaps being in a cylindrical one might seem fair? Still feel like it's the same point you are going round and round? Well, let me remind you, in a circle, there are infinite points to be found. All right, let us step out if you insist. In the blinding sun, is it the comfort of the shade you miss? We love our little boxes, admit it, we must. We are the new age people, and in boxes we trust. Be it the set-top box, the idiot box. Didn't Forrest Gump say life's a chocolate box? Getting back to twiddling thumbs on the Xbox, blasting out the boom box, collecting toys from the cereal box. Ever wondered if the cat got out of the bag and into Schrodinger's box? Did you just look for the answer in the search box? You eagerly check your mailbox, deciding how far you'll go using the meter box. Your life plans are checkboxed. You voted for all this in the ballot box. Your own unique box of experiences is full of things to talk about. Don't believe me? Well then, Wittgenstein's beetle in the box experiment is worth checking out. I just realized I'm a big chatterbox. Wow. Did I just create a story about the world of boxes in a box? So, are we back to square one or square none? Yes. Asking burning questions like these is what Kakashi does for fun.
Mumbai, the city of dreams. Billions of dreams in the hearts of 23 million people bottled in 7 lakh homes, with walls getting thinner and homes getting smaller, your child crying, the cooker whistling, the mixer churning, your neighbors partying or bickering. Everything is heard, noted, repeated again and again, every day to 80 lakh people who toil for a salary, working in offices with computers and telephones, going tuck, 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 and drink for 8, 10, sometimes 13 hours, and 2 more hours at traffic signals with 3 million cars jamming roads, choking streets to get to something we call home. Homes with TVs playing songs pretending to be music and ads pretending to know what you need, with families growing silent and strangers going yap 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 and jibber jabber, interrupted by notifications going tidding tidding tidding, liking pictures and commenting on things that they don't know about, all aching for a split second of silence, which never comes, running away from the noise that will never leave you, but can in a second disappear.
बैठे बैठे झांक रहे, मोड़ लिए है कान। शुरू करो तमाशे, बढ़ाओ दगाबाजों की शान। जबान पे रखे लगाम, लगाम, लगाम। नानी तेरी बेटी को छेड़ के गए, बचे कुचे भरोसे पे काले पट्टे लग गए। ढल गया दिन, हो गई शाम, रहने दो, घर में चलाती हूँ काम। डर डर के ना देख, डर डर के, जिंदगानी के सफर में तू अकेली ही नहीं है, मैं हूँ, me too and me too। चल ऐसा कुछ खेल और बेफिक्र जी ले तू। देख ले, बचने के तरीके 5, सीख ले, कोई तुझे पहुंचाए ना आज। याद रख, उसने अगर मारी फालतू एंट्रियां, तो कान के नीचे ऐसे बजा घंटियां। कोई परेशान करे ज्यादा और सटकली माजी तेरी, इस पंच के दुखदार असर में है नहीं कोई देरी। सुबह होने ना दे, रात में तू झूम ले। अगर कोई रोके तो तू बन जा हीरो। पीछे से करे कोई वार, बन तू चैंपियन और वो जीरो। और यारा ओ यारा, ये तरीका सबसे प्यारा। बदतमीजी की हिम्मत जो करे वही करेगा दोबारा।
Here I go again, guys.
Nothing new. Yeah, a new customer.
Oh.
Can I taste tutti frutti? No. I'll have chocolate only. I hate these freckles. Nobody picks me. 2 scoops of chocolate, please. No, not tutti frutti. 1 chocolate, please.
No, don't put vanilla. And I'm feeling good. Everybody has a story. We're just strangers taking each other's stories forward. Is that why I come here every day? It's certainly not for the coffee. There's something for someone else. Maybe I'll tell her that someday. Someday, when she has the time and I have the right words.
When you're surrounded by people all day long, it becomes very easy to read them. But him, he just keeps on guessing. God knows what he keeps writing in there. He fills up pages after pages. What does he want to say? I wish I knew.
There's something about her laughter. It's infectious and unexpected. When it happens, it stays with me all day.
I like the little world that I've created here. And all these fleeting faces have become a part of it. Some I know, some I don't. But some, well, I wish I knew better.
I think you have something of mine.
Something of yours?
Yeah.
I think it's more of mine than yours.
There are love stories waiting to happen. If only you know where to look. Discover your story on Woo, India's leading dating app. Woo, let's talk.
वीर तुम बढ़े चलो, धीर तुम बढ़े चलो, सामने पहाड़ हो, सिंह की दहाड़ हो, तुम कभी रुको नहीं, तुम कभी झुको नहीं, वीर तुम बढ़े चलो, धीर तुम बढ़े चलो। वीर तुम रुको सही, धीर तुम झुको सही, कदम कहाँ बढ़ा रहे तुम जरा देखो सही, वीर तुम रुको सही, कहाँ चले सोचो सही।
That's Guru Diksha. Mahalakshmi, can you come? One last thing before we actually go out for a tree plantation.
So Dastan Goi is a 13th century Urdu oral storytelling art form. We had Ankit Chadha give us a glimpse of this art form. He conducted an elective with CCC 27, and we'd like to present to you something that was created as a part of the same. What this Dastan talks about is something we hold very close to our hearts. So we request you to please listen to it intently. It is written by Stuti Sudha. It has been performed by Stuti Sudha and Rahul Dubey. Thank you.
फुदकती मछली किनारे पर जा पहुंची। वहां इंसानों का मेला देखकर भागने लगी, पर तभी उसे एहसास हुआ ये इंसान उसकी तलाश में थे ही नहीं। वहां उसने एक रोते बच्चे को पाया। बच्चे के आंसू समुद्र में टप टप गिरते चले और मछली उन्हें पीती गई। आंसुओं से पता चला बच्चा समुद्र से कुछ नाराज था। उसे किसी के जाने के दुख का आभास था। समुद्र मछली का तो घर था, आखिर घर की शान पर आँच आए वो कैसे ले पाती। गुस्से में मछुआरों की नजर से बचते हुए समुद्र की गहराइयों में जा पहुंची और नादानियत से पूछा, तेरी गहराइयों में है शांति, सब खुश सब सुखी, पर किनारों पर है दुख का एहसास। क्या है किनारे का राज जो हर दिन कोई आए और अलग अलग नाम चिल्लाए, जैसे वो तुझसे मांग रहे हो कुछ, जैसे उनका तूने छीन लिया हो कुछ। समुंदर बोला,
ये लहरें तो मेरी ही बच्चे हैं, कुछ नादान कुछ शैतान, मेरे मना करने के बावजूद किनारे पर खेलने की जिद करते हैं। वहां ये इंसान के साथ खेलने लगते हैं। खेल खेल में इंसान कुदरत के नियम भूल जाता है मेरी ताकत को, जो इतनी विशाल कि मैं खुद भी उससे वाकिफ नहीं। भूल जाता है कि मैं भी नसीब का बंदी हूँ। मैं भी एक पिता हूँ जो अपनी लहरों को वापस खींच लेता हूँ। मेरे बच्चे मेरी सुन लेते हैं, चुपचाप वापस लौट आते हैं। पर हर पिता का ये नसीब नहीं जो समंदर में आए वो अब उनके करीब नहीं। ऐ इंसान तो पहले मुझे जान ले, पहचान ले, किस दिन हूँ शांत किस दिन गुस्सैल, इस बात का तो प्रमाण लो। विनती है बस इतनी कि मेरे आसपास तो सावधान रहे। नहीं नीयत दुख पहुंचाने की, पर नहीं है हिम्मत कुछ लौटाने की। मेरे आसपास तो बस सावधान रहे।
On 7th of September, we lost two of our students to the sea, and in memory of Sai Gurram Gyaneswar and Anuja Sushan Paul, we're going to plant 2 trees, a mango tree and a jamun tree, and may I request all of you to just come join us to Chhota in loving memory of these 2 students. We're going to plant these trees. Thank you, all of you.